So it's been about 2 weeks since the clear backpacks took effect. How's it been going?
I've checked in with students, with staff, and now I've reached out to parents as well for feedback, and so far it's been very positive. The students' perspective is, yes, we were initially upset because of the change, but they've moved on. They don't have any issue with the clear backpacks at this point. Staff are grateful that something was done, something immediate. They all have a general understanding of this isn't 100% the solution to the problem, but at least it's a step to making it more difficult to bring something dangerous.
Is there any lag getting into school? Are you still checking the bags, or is it just, as they kind of make their way through, you're keeping an eye out?
That's B, yeah. So entrance into the school is back to what it typically had been, but now staff have the ability to look at bags as needed.
Okay.
And that's throughout the day. Students have expressed that to me as well. I should share that they feel more comfortable now that they can actually look into the backpack if they were concerned.
Okay. Have you had any situations where you've had to do the return to school transition period?
This is week one. It's only Tuesday, so I can't provide any feedback at this point, but this is the first week where we've had last week's suspension because of a fight, and now they're going through that transition period with 0 unstructured time. So an adult is with them at all points during their day at our school.
Did you have that parent meeting already? I guess, was it well received that, hey, yeah, we understand this needs to happen?
I didn't sit in on that. That was done at the school level, but my understanding is that it went really well. And that's not the only parent interaction. As we've talked about before, the parent will be involved in the so the student's been suspended. We're going to have a conversation about what this looks like and why it happened. Then when the student returns from the suspension, another parent meeting. And then prior to them being released back without supervision, there'll be another parent meeting. And again, the goal is to help support the parent and have them help support us in ensuring that this doesn't happen again.
The school board meeting on Monday, what's kind of the format? How is that going to go down? What's going to be discussed?
Okay. We are in the process right now of finalizing the gathering of all of the information from the roundtable at Preble. We had about 500 participants. They wrote notes on the large sheets of paper and provided index cards with questions. So we're putting all of that together, and we'll be presenting to the Board of Education the general themes from the tables. There were 3 questions asked at each table. So we'll put them into themes, and then we'll talk about some of our immediate responses. What have we done in the period of time since the weapon was found? And we're going to review what our current safety and security measures are district-wide. And then the recommendations. That'll be the final part of our presentation. What were the resounding recommendations from the people that came to the roundtable, and allow the board opportunity to deliberate and provide guidance to the district on what would be appropriate next steps.
So what will the school board do with those recommendations?
Well, our ask is for them to have a discussion about what they feel would be the best ones to, is there something we can implement immediately, or is there something they would like more research on, maybe surveys to gather more feedback from whether the community feels this is an appropriate next step. That's the direction we're looking for from the board for this next step.
What are the recommendations?
Common themes that were coming out of it, metal detectors, or now they're referred to as weapon detectors, the metal detection wands, changes to the dress code, school uniforms was on the list, closed campus. I think when I don't think. Preble and all of our other high schools have had open campus for lunch for as long as I've been around, probably back when you were here too. This year we have closed campus for freshmen, and we're already seeing positive results in attendance as a result of that. Closed campus was listed for all grade levels for consideration for the board. Stronger mental health support. So we will have our pupil services team there Monday night to respond to any questions about what's currently available. Mental health is a really tough one because we don't have the providers in the state of Wisconsin that could sufficiently meet the needs of all of our students. But we can at least talk about what we do have in place. And harsher consequences for unsafe behavior, which we've addressed and hopefully has good results. And building stronger relationships with our students, so between staff and students. Those were the common ones. I might be missing one or two, but those were the common ones.
That's a lot. Is it
Yeah.
kind of a situation where you took all the recommendations that came out of the roundtables and then you're not eliminating anything and just letting the school board do what they want with it?
Right, that's correct. The only ones we didn't list again are things that we've already implemented, and that can be found on the website.
So is the district administration endorsing any of those recommendations, or is it just, let's work through it all?
Yeah, we won't be endorsing any. We're really looking for feedback from the board. None of these measures will 100% guarantee that we won't have an unsafe incident again. And I think that's really important for the public to remember. Anything we can do to enhance our existing safety and security measures is what we're looking for. So we as an administrative team will take whatever feedback we get from the board and direction from them and move it forward.
So out of those recommendations, are there any that you see are likely to happen or not likely to happen?
Boy, your guess is as good as mine on that. We can certainly take a look at the mental health services that are being provided, and is there opportunity there to strengthen them? I don't know what to expect from the weapon detection discussion. There seems to be really strong support from parents for that, and from what I've seen, there are weapon detection monitors that aren't as intrusive as maybe what we imagine they could be. So if it were something like that, I think that would be realistic. Of course, dependent upon funding and staffing. I can tell you that weapon detection, doing it the right way would require an increase in our staffing for sure, and the cost, of course, of the material. But I heard loud and clear from the parents, especially in the Preble area, that if funding is needed, they're willing to help support in any way they can.
Have you started to look at the cost of that?
Yeah, and I think you did too. I think you had brought some numbers. The last I looked at our document, we're at about 1.5 million a year.
What would that look like? Would that be a weapon detection system, a walk-through lane in every school, or just the middle and high schools?
Right, and that would be what the board would have to decide upon. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. Some districts do random. It's going to pop up at your school and you don't know when it's going to be there. Others have them permanently at the entrance of their schools. Some do middle and high school, some only do high school. It really varies, and so that would be part of the discussion.
But that 1.5 million, what does that entail?
That would be if we did it at all of our secondary schools. Yeah, that would be the high end.
Okay. So that'd be just the middle and high schools?
Correct.
So I'm guessing, based off of the one that we quoted, you're doing multiple lanes at
Right.
each one.
Yeah, you would have to. If we presented at, this is the, I don't want to say necessarily the most extreme, but the most expensive model would be having numerous lanes, maybe up to 4 lanes at each of the larger schools. And those would have to be staffed by minimally 2, maybe 3 staff members per lane. So the cost comes up as we look at high-quality employees in those positions that can make sure that we're using them properly, that they would know what to do in a situation where something was triggered. And that we're consistent and not getting into a habit of profiling or inappropriately using the machines. There's a lot to consider.
Especially with the cost, what are the options for paying for that? I assume you could cut something out of your budget to pay for that, but could you also go to referendum? I mean, obviously grants might be an option too.
Right, if that's the direction the board wants to go in, we will look at all of that. Referendum is on our mind anyway, because as you know, we are facing a budget deficit, which Monday night we're going to be presenting on that as well. So it could be a referendum item, most certainly, but then again, it depends on the time frame that the board would want to institute something like this.
What is the deficit at right now?
We're looking at about a $4 million deficit for this school year, the one we're currently in.
What's on the table for cutting?
We have to continue to look at everything. Our most expensive item is staffing. So we will continue to look at opportunity through attrition and retirement for not backfilling positions.
Would that get you down to what you need to be at?
Probably not alone. We will need to couple it with other things.
Okay. I think that's about all I have. Is there anything I'm missing? Anything I didn't ask? I guess what's the timeline? When, we're just talking about recommendations on Monday, when could we actually see action and then stuff implemented?
Okay, I'm trying to think of how I was going to say that on Monday night. Timeline would be dependent on the board and what things they would want us to move on and how quickly we could. One I didn't mention to you, another option was increasing SROs. We currently have 11 SROs working with the district. We don't even know if the police department would have the capacity. So if the board said, let's take a look at that, for example, we would need to start with the police department to determine if it's possible and then look for funding options as well. So a lot of it really is dependent upon what they choose.
Armed guards, is that on the table at all?
That did not come up.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. I think the board talked about it a couple of years ago. It was brought up. SROs seem to be the best solution if we're talking about armed guards.
Yeah, Chief Smith brought it
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
and it was $2 million a year, I think.
Okay.
That was for one at each school.
SRO expense would be somewhere between $150,000 to $200,000 per SRO.
Okay. And what are the numbers right now? There's 11
11.
for the 40 schools?
Yep,
Okay.
11.